Let's check out some of the latest news that have made headlines recently. Amazon UK becoming victims of fake reviews. Let's jump into the details and find out what happened. So Which, the organisation, has uncovered some fake review factories. There's probably many out there, but the two of the largest ones that were discovered were called Amazon UK Reviewers and Amazon Deals Group. Such original names, I know. They had over 87,000 members between them, and how it worked was you become a member, you request access to leave a review, a seller posts the link for the item that they want you to review, you go on there onto Amazon and purchase it as normal. You'd then be eligible to leave a verified purchase badge review on their item, and then once you've left the 5-star review on the item, the seller would refund you the money for the item via PayPal, and sometimes even covering the PayPal fees, and then you get to keep the item for free. So Which found in their investigation that 3 out of the 5 cases, people were not refunded for the positive reviews they left, and that was because either they didn't leave a positive enough review or the seller couldn't be contacted. On to the next story. So here's a look at the world's first 3D printed steel bridge. The structure is 40 foot long in stainless steel and is called The Bridge, ironically. It's currently being shown in Amsterdam at Dutch Design Week from the 20th to the 28th of October. So if you're in Amsterdam, go and check it out. Good news for Android fans out there. A contract obtained by The Verge have found that Google will be announcing security changes for its patching on its Android devices. On July the 31st, at least 75% of a company's Android devices will require mandatory updates. That is for any manufacturer that has over 100,000 activated users that uses their hardware will require consistent updates for at least 2 years. All qualifying devices will require updates starting from January 31st, 2019. Any manufacturer that doesn't honor these requirements, Google can also refuse and effectively block the sale of some of these devices. James Dyson has officially announced that they'll be building their new car factory in Singapore for its forthcoming electric car. Now, it's expected to be built by 2020 and the launch of the car will be in 2021. I don't think there's any official leaks as to what the car is going to look like, but a manufacturer that is well known for building Dyson vacuum cleaners to bring out a car will be exciting to see. At least 20 people are injured after a metro station escalator goes haywire. Now, according to this report, there were many Russian fans attending a Champions League soccer match between AS Roma and CSK Moscow, which were on an escalator at the metro station at Roma Piazza Republica that went haywire. The video on Twitter shows dozens of people being shoved into a growing pile at the bottom at high speed. With the long-promised foldable phone from Samsung expected to be previewed in November's Samsung Developer Conference, Samsung may also be hinting at making foldable laptop displays. Quoting from the VP of Marketing for PCs at Samsung, like foldable smartphones, Samsung is collaborating with display makers to develop laptops with foldable displays that will not only simply fold in and out, but create a new value and user experience. Stephen Hawking's wheelchair and papers are being auctioned off. So it looks like 22 items are going to be auctioned off. This includes papers and publications, which can be found on display in London from the 30th of October. And bids are being accepted up until the 8th of November. Stephen Hawking's wheelchair, which backdates to 1988, is expected to fetch upwards of £15,000. And the thesis, written in 1965, called The Properties of Expanding Universes, which there's only 5 known copies for. This particular one that's in the auction is not only signed by him, but also has a hand-drawn equation by the physicist, is expected to reach from around £100,000 to £150,000 at auction. With the notch being ever so popular with manufacturers in the latest flagship devices, Honor seem to be doing it differently with the new Honor Magic 2, opting for a sliding screen to allow users to have the full viewing experience. Full details of the device are expected to be officially announced on October the 31st.
Hello, Yo-Yo.
I'm here. What's up?
HTC's blockchain phone is officially available for pre-order, called the Exodus 1, expected to ship in December, and you can only buy it online with 0.15 Bitcoin or 4.78 Ether tokens, roughly valued at estimated $960. HTC is starting to focus on the blockchain technology as part of the company's pivot to software and intellectual property. In case you may have missed it, HTC have also heavily scaled back on its hardware business. Alongside OnePlus's announcement for its latest flagship device, OnePlus may also be the first to have a 5G phone. Qualcomm, one of the major drivers behind 5G, have announced in a conference in Hong Kong that they're expected to have two of the latest flagship devices to have 5G next year. Shortly afterwards, OnePlus CEO joined them on stage and announced that OnePlus will be one of the manufacturers with a 5G phone coming out in 2019. A World War II fighter plane has crashed into a highway in LA. Now, according to this report, the plane had crashed into the divider on the US 101 in California on Tuesday. The pilot is safe and was extracted before the flames could consume the aircraft.
Get out of here for a close-up.
The world's oldest, most intact shipwreck has been found at the bottom of the Black Sea. The Greek merchant ship from 2,400 years ago was found by the Black Sea Maritime Archaeology Project from the depths of about 2,000 meters. Water surrounding the shipwreck is believed to be anoxic and prevents any organic matter from degrading and keeping the shipwreck in pristine condition. The shipwreck itself is about 23 meters in length, and the researchers believed to have found the world's oldest intact shipwreck known to mankind. A sample of the ship was brought to the surface and carbon dated to 400 BC. Now, the MAP researchers aim to secure additional funding and aim to send down ROVs down as it's way too deep for human divers. The current project has cost £15 million to date, and in the past 3 years, they've even discovered 67 wrecks. Corsair about a week ago launched their new NVMe SSD. The SSD has sequential reads of 3,480 megabytes versus the 3,000 megabytes of sequential write, which is a pretty fast drive. This actually beats the Samsung 970 Pro and the Western Digital Black NVMe SSD. This is meant to be tipped as one of the best value for money SSDs you can buy that has been launched recently. This features the new Toshiba 64-layer 3D TLC NAND technology. But with Corsair's recent launch for their new NVMe SSD, ADATA have also launched their SSD with the exact same specs. Now, unfortunately for ADATA, it looks like Corsair has them beat on value. So here's a funny story of some large steel balls wreaking havoc in Seattle after police had to forcibly shut down the road in West Seattle on Wednesday. A semi-truck unleashed a massive load of stainless steel balls after the driver failed to secure his load properly. Over 44,000 pounds of steel ball wreaked havoc and started damaging vehicles. An Android fraud ring has been found stealing millions of dollars through fake ad revenue. Over 125 Android apps and websites have been drawn into a massive fraud scheme that's seen hundreds of millions of dollars of ad revenue stolen through an in-depth investigation which has been published by the BuzzFeed news team. The BuzzFeed report sees that the scam saw fraudsters purchasing legitimate and established applications from developers through a front company called We Purchase Apps. Those apps would then see their ownerships transferred over to shell companies, which would then continue to manage the apps while analyzing users' behavior and interactions on the apps. That data was used to program a network of bots that would be directed toward the purchased apps, realistically spoofing real users' behavior using the real data, while hopefully masking the legitimate users still interacting with the apps. This reaped millions of dollars in ad revenue from the companies paying to advertise in the in-app ad networks, including those run by Google themselves. Elon Musk's The Boring Company has bought a nondescript house in LA. Now, according to this report, the house was bought for $485,000, which is pretty low compared to the other houses worth around that area. Now, they're not interested in the house from what we're told. They're actually planning to build a car tunnel which is going to connect to a test track. But others think to believe that he'll be building his own Batcave. Yahoo are in the news for submitting their settlement to the US District Court for the data breach that happened in 2013. Yahoo have agreed to pay $50 million to victims that were affected in the data breach. This has been recorded as one of the biggest data breaches that have happened in history. Some of the other benefits that Yahoo have included are a 2-year credit monitoring service from a company called AllClear, which is of the value of $350. The estimated figures for the people affected have ballooned to up to 3 billion users. YouTube have invested $20 million into educational content through a new learning fund program. YouTube have already invested into a couple of channels that have secured this funding, such as TED Ed, which do the TED Talks, and Hank and John Green's Crash Course YouTube channel. Now, to be eligible for this fund, you need to have secured 25,000 subscribers and have a degree or proper certification in the field that you specialize in. Once you have that and have a written agreement with YouTube, then you should be able to secure some funding. Now, other channels such as ASAP Science and Smarter Every Day are working with YouTube on this project as well. That has been your news roundup for the week. Please like, follow, subscribe, and share, and I'll catch you guys next time.